You know what's interesting about Sadak 2.0? Most international rap collaborations today feel manufactured. One artist changes their sound, the other simplifies their writing, and somewhere in the middle, the identity just disappears. But Sadak 2.0 does not sound like compromise. It sounds like two completely different artists entering the same battlefield and somehow making chaos work together. Because this track is not carried by just bars, it's carried by momentum, texture, rhythm, aggression, and chemistry. And the more you listen carefully, the more you realize that this track is actually engineered in a really smart way. The first thing that makes this collaboration work is that neither artist tries to become the other. Token still sounds like Token, dense writing, layered references, percussive rhyme structure, and Emiway Bantai still sounds completely like Emiway. Raw energy, momentum, pressure, street momentum. That balance there is very important because a lot of collaboration fail when artists starts adapting too much. But here, both artists amplify what already makes them dangerous. Even the hook shows this immediately.
Emiway Bantai, Sadak, टोकन है साथ में, Sadak, तू तेरा देख मेरा एकदम कड़क.
It's simple, aggressive, and memorable, almost like a crowd chant. And that simplicity is important because it balances the technical density of Token's verses, the hook that keeps the track grounded in street energy while the verses become increasingly chaotic and technical. The contrast is one of the reasons that the sound feels alive. This is where things gets more interesting because Token's verse is not just lyrical, it's rhythmic. And I don't think enough people are talking about this. Listen carefully to these lines.
T-top of the B2Ps in the party, make cheese with the pie like it's Steve Jobs, count green like you put a clock on the treetop.
The consonants themselves almost start functioning like percussions. The T sounds, the P sounds, the B sounds. It starts sounding less like somebody simply rapping and more like somebody's playing drums with the syllables.
Light-headed head with the lights like a street cop. I'm elite so the world stop when the beats drop. I got so many bars, I got an army of the bars, but I can't change to a K9K dot.
And that's one of the Token's biggest strengths. His writing doesn't just rhyme, it hits. Even the flow transitions feel intentionally unstable. Look at this sequence.
I got so many bars, I got an army of the bars, but I can't change to a K9K dot. Can't change to a K9K dot, but I took Token to a toucan Sam, cause I'm on Fruit Loops, funny then I'm full of flavor.
At first, I thought it sounded just like a random flow, but there's actually a lot happening here. You got Barbie imagery, Ken references, Kendrick, K-dot amplification, identity commentary, performance commentary, and then suddenly he moves into
I took Token to a toucan Sam, cause I'm on Fruit Loops, funny then I'm full of flavor. Fridge full of foods for the fruits of my labor.
Toucan Sam, Fruit Loops, full of flavor, fruit of my labor. Even I can't pronounce that properly. This section feels chaotic intentionally, but the glow is not logic, it's a sound. Every transition is connected through phonetics and rhythm. That's advanced writing. And then one of my favorite moments in this verse.
Moon face, fucking moon face, big spoon, trying to tell my little spoon I wanna find out how another spoon tastes. I do not do scroll, but I always wear a mask, so I got an MF Doom face. Got an MF Doom face.
I always wear a mask, so I got MF Doom face. That line works because MF Doom wasn't just a rapper. He represented mystery, hidden identity, masked artistry, technical anonymity. So Token references Doom while simultaneously flex rapping, jokes rapping, technical rapping, and self-characterizing himself. That layering is why his works reward replay value. And then towards the later section, the rhyme chaining becomes almost machine-like. I mean, click-clack, clinic, classic act, clap-claw. Even if I try to pronounce it right now, it's just making me shiver.
Stay close as I get to cracking a smile as a cringe face. Cracking like crazy, my cranium turning to clickbait. Cruising like crash craft bread like a crisp crepe. Crisp crepe and I make him croak like it's cap crack. Click clack, put him in the clinic, I'm a class act. Clap clap, cause I get applause when it's plausible. India to America, anything is possible.
At that point, the verse almost stops feeling conversational entirely. It becomes rhythm architecture. Now, Emiway's section is interesting for a completely different reason. Because Emiway's strength here is not, look how complicated my writing is. His strength is momentum engineering. And that's something a lot of people misunderstand when analyzing his music. Some rappers sound impressive on paper. You know who I'm talking about. Emiway sounds dangerous in emotion. That's the difference. Look at these lines.
गाड़े forfeit बिना कोई notice हम लारे notice ये आएंगे तो फिर ना देंगे माफी ये रेगिस्तान ये ले शारजा ट्रॉफी तू करता खाली या manipulation हम certified artist बिना certification.
The line itself is direct, but delivery gives it weight. Then immediately after that, this.
सीधा छाती पे बीट नहीं है ज़रा दीवाने फीट पे नचाते हम दबा के स्किल्स लगे डिनो पीछे आया 10 चबा के फैंस बोले इनकी बार्सिलोना लाया ब्रिक में तू खाली लगे बाहर से सोना मैरिड टू द गेम नहीं मैरिड होना रखो हल्का तो भी हम गोल मारे ना.
That sudden sport metaphor adds impact, movement instantly, and Emiway keeps doing this throughout the verse. He changes aggression, rhythm, cultural reference, flow switches, and pressure. One after another, he keeps on going, he doesn't stop. Even the local train flow line that perfectly represents his style, because Emiway raps exactly like Mumbai movement feels sometimes. Fast, crowded, aggressive, and constantly moving. And another thing people may overlook is how culturally rooted his imagery is. You got Yuvraj Singh references, you got Sharjah Trophy reference, you got Zinedine Zidane references, local train references, Moses references, Ronaldinho references, Maradona references, and then comes the most famous, the weekday references.
सोमवार है ना तेरे लिए मेरे लिए रविवार छुट्टी करा दूं देके बाहर होगा 35 शनि तेरे पीछे लड़ा गुरु से तू बड़ी बात बुध बन बेड़ा कर शुगर वरना मंगल पार.
The track feels global without losing the local identity. Now we need to talk about the long word section, because honestly this could have gone terribly and horribly wrong. Words like pneumono ultramicroscopic silico-volcanoconiosis or floccinaucinihilipilification.
जब आया मैं तो धुआं उठे हुआ है न्यूमोनो अल्ट्रोमाइक्रोस्कोपिक सिलिको वोल्केनोकोनायोसिस तू करता खाली या मैनिपुलेशन हम सर्टिफाइड आर्टिस्ट बिना सर्टिफिकेशन सिली बातें करे तभी तो मेरी हिली तू मेरे लिए फ्लॉसिनोसिनिलिफिलिफिकेशन.
They could have sounded like they are forced. But Emiway uses them rhythmatically instead of academically, and that changes everything. The point is not to show, look how smart I am, but the point is I can make impossible words musical. That's actually harder than simply saying the difficult words. And because the track already have lots and lots of chaotic movements, those movements feel theatrical instead of feeling corny. At the center of Sadak 2.0, there is something a lot of modern collaborations are missing. That is mutual identity. Neither artist sounds watered down, or neither artist sounds uncomfortable. Neither artist sound like they are chasing algorithms. And because of that, that collaboration feels earned. Not corporate, not forced, but just earned. And that's probably why the track feels exciting, because it sounds like two artists from completely different worlds meeting in the middle through pure hunger and energy. And maybe that's the best way to describe Sadak 2.0, not as an India meets America track, but as a proof that real hip-hop chemistry do not need artists to become identical. Sometimes the differences are exactly what makes the collaboration powerful.